Hey everyone, another month comes to an end, so it's time to take a look back at the games I finished over February. As I said last time, I spent part of the month traveling and staying with friends, so I've not played as much as January, but there's still plenty of great games to talk about. The first of which is one of the few Resident Evil titles I've never played before.
We lost contact with Chris and Jessica.
When? How?
We're not certain. I've sent their last known coordinates to your terminals.
Resident Evil Revelations originally released for the 3DS back in 2012, and that can for sure be felt in its HD port for
Right
PC.
here on this ship.
Some of the textures are pretty low quality, and the enemy variety is lacking, with most of the enemies being hunters or what looks like regenerators from Resident Evil 4.
What happened?
No one's saying Chris is dead.
The game's episodic, and each episode split into multiple parts, following different groups of characters, so the gameplay stays interesting, and it's the story that mostly carries the game. There's often cliffhangers that make you want to continue to see what's next.
It's impossible.
Gameplay-wise, it's a mix of over-the-shoulder action from Resident Evil 5 and 6, but it's also got more tension from the older titles. It really doesn't have the polish of a mainline entry, but if you played it on the 3DS, I'm sure it is fine enough. Overall, I did enjoy my time with the game, so it's definitely worth a shot if you get it for cheap.
The time to speak has come.
This certainly isn't a first time playthrough. I find myself replaying this classic almost yearly. This time it's to provide save files with Stella's Tomb Raider guides. I did the same last year when the remasters first came out, but one pickup was glitched. But thankfully it was fixed in the patch, and with the second set of remasters out this month, Stella asked me to update the save. Tomb Raider is one of the first games I have a real vivid memory of being blown away by. Seeing the 3D world on a store display PC is a moment that's always stuck with me. There really is no other game like it. Many new players struggle with the tank controls, and the remasters did add a modern control scheme, but my advice is to stick with the tank controls. Once you get accustomed to them, they become second nature, and they just offer a level of precision you just don't get with the other control scheme. Resident Evil Revelations 2 improves upon the first in literally every way. While the PC port could do with an update, as the only way to play co-op is locally, though you could get around this with something like Parsec or Steam Play Together, but even when I played it locally while visiting friends, it was a nightmare setting up the controllers. But we did eventually get it working right, and there's also a mod to remove the dead space when you play split screen. I had so much fun playing this one. Player 1 controls Claire and the other player controls Moira, who can't use guns, so she needs to stun the enemies for Claire with a flashlight. And there's so many enemy types this time. Like the first game, each chapter is split across characters. When you're not playing as Claire and Moira, you're playing as Barry and Talia. There's also an upgrade system so you can customize your playthrough to your liking. And the story is, again, interesting, but I felt it ended too soon. That's not to say it's a short game, but I expected another episode.
Are you afraid? You can tell me. Talk to me.
You can play this one without playing the first, so do jump into this one the next time there's a sale.
So much suffering. You don't even know what to be afraid of yet.
One woman is about to face her ultimate destiny.
Like the first set of remasters, I'm sharing save files with Stella for her website, but for 4 to 6, I've only played them for the first time last year, so going for all pickups and secrets was new to me. The series does get tougher with each entry, and by this point the devs, Core, they were overworked on yearly releases. which really did affect the games.
The last revelation.
While I personally think 4 is one of the better games in the core era, there's no denying that the back half really slogs, while the first half setting is really interesting. They've done such a good job with the remaster. Saber's decision to bring in devs from the community who have spent years working on mods for the original games has really paid off. Items begin to glow as you get near them, so they have acted on feedback from last time. But some patches are needed. There's the odd graphical glitch and some areas are pretty dark. Yeah, you've learned about tombs, sometimes you need to switch between new and old graphics just to see where you're going. What also doesn't help is the tone-deaf statements from the devs about how our TVs are not calibrated correctly. It just reminds me of the final season of Game of Thrones. This game was such an unexpected delight. If you're into cozy games, you're gonna love this one. The aim is to deliver packages to your island's residents until you get your broom fixed and can return to the top of the mountain where you're trying to become a fully fledged witch. But it's a journey, not the destination, that makes this special. Over the handful of acts, you'll learn about the characters and become invested in their lives. You fly across the map to lovely, relaxing music. It's not a long game, it took me about 4 hours to beat it, mostly focusing on the story, but there's a number of side quests and cosmetics for you to find. And once the story's over, you're free to explore the map. It was just what I needed when I played it, and it felt like being wrapped in a nice warm blanket. It's highly recommended.
I've never called home. I've missed the time that I've never known.
In a life full of adventure, so much is unseen.
Despite trying to kill Lara off at the end of the last game, the publishers demanded a new game every year, so here's the next one. And while some devs were busy working on what would become Angel of Darkness for the PS2, another part of the dev team were left to churn out a swan song for the PS1. The game is split into 4 sections, each with 3 or 4 levels, so it's pretty short compared to the 4th game, but I kinda like how snappy it is. Rome's a good introduction area, and it's over just as you're ready to move on. Next you'll find yourself in a Russian submarine, but my favourite part is Island, where there's a really impressive spooky atmosphere. The last section is a low point, however. They're pretty tough levels and you don't have your pistols with unlimited ammo, so it's possible to run out of ammo, so make sure you save across multiple slots.
That bridge is coming down! I have to stop this!
With Spider-Man 2 now out on PC, I realised I never played the Miles Morales follow-up to the first game. It's pretty much more the same with a new story and shorter runtime, and it's now winter in New York, and the game does look amazing with ray tracing if you have the hardware for it. Once again, there's a ton of side missions and collectibles to find, and just swinging around is still lots of fun.
Push past these guys!
And while it's a quality game, I think full price is too much to ask for it. You can zip through the story pretty quickly, and the side content, it does get pretty samey. There's also a recap video provided, so you don't have to play the first game to jump in. It's worth picking up if you can find it for cheap.
Help! Help! No!
And that brings a close to February. Hope you all had a great month, and let me know in the comments what you played. And if you want to watch me play some of the games that'll be in next month's video, feel free to drop by my Twitch page. Links in the description. Also, subscribe to be notified when the next video is out. Thank you for watching. See you later.